You eat today, you drink today, good. My name is hyenabreezy. I hope you are doing well, and this is Enter the Heat of Battle. Now here's a random fact for you that you did not ask for, but I hate playing the protagonist in a fighting game. Why, I have no idea, but I do know that it makes me feel just oddly gross playing the person on the box art. But there are a few main characters that did not get their time to shine, like your Ryus, your sold bad guys, your etc., that I would consider playing. So why don't you come along with me and take some time to appreciate some of the lost fighting game protagonists. Before we do though, please like and subscribe, it'd be so sweet of you. And with that out of the way, let's go ahead and
enter the heat of battle. Go for it.
First up on our list, we have Solis R8000. Wait a second. Her name's kind of too Terminator-like to just say normally, so first up we have Solis R8000. She hails from the late 90s fighting game known as Groove on Fight by Atlus. And before you ask, yes, this is the Persona and Shin Megami Tensei Atlus. In Groove on Fight, we follow Solis, who is an investigator from the far-off year of 2115. She has been given the mission to figure out what creepy and corrupt organization is using time travel to pick off several influential families from 100 years ago. Then after doing some more digging, she realizes that, oh shit, one of those families is mine. So she hops on a time machine to 2015 to save her bloodline. During her trip though, something goes wrong with her time machine because something always goes wrong with time travel, so she finds herself dazed and confused in the wrong time period and in the lab of one Max Axe Dax. Yes, that's his name, and yes, it's fucking amazing. Anyway, Max Axe Dax, or MAD for short, allows her to crash in his lab while she tries to figure out what's up with her time machine and tries to contact her family in the past. After some time of trial and error, Solis is able to finally contact her family and tell them about the situation. Once her family hears about what's going on, they tell her of a 2-on-2 fighting tournament that their family likes to hold, letting Solis know that if she wants to dig further into her case and figure out what's going on, she's gonna have to enter herself. So Solis recruits Max Axe Dax to be her tag partner as she enters this upcoming tournament. Now design-wise, Solis might be my favorite on this list, tied with someone that we'll talk about later. Something about this Y2K mixed with neo-futurism vibe that she gives off just tickles the brain oh so nicely. Honestly, I can see why she was made the protagonist, because looking at her next to the entire cast of Groove on Fight, she obviously is the most striking. And I just think it's cool we got a femme protagonist in the 90s, because odds are strong that she could have just been another Ryu clone. But thankfully, we got this dope-ass character, Solis R8000, and I could not be happier. Now we move on to Alfred A. Alfred is the main character of Real Bout Garo Densetsu Special Dominated Mind, a Japan-exclusive version of Real Bout Fatal Fury Special. That's right, before Rock Howard, Alfred A. was the original successor to Terry Bogard. Unlike most fighting game protagonists, Alfred's pastimes have nothing to do with fighting or combat or anything like that. Alfred's true passions, if you can't tell by his outfit, is being a pilot. Alfred has been studying under his mentor, who is praised for being kind of a dumbass and flying into Russian skies over an MiG. Even though he was pretty absent-minded when flying over there, he is still such an amazing pilot that he was able to make it out to tell the tale. He returns to his hometown of Southtown as a hero and an idol, especially to Alfred, who has lost his father. While this is going on though, there is a power vacuum in the criminal underworld of Southtown. Because after the death of the kingpin of Southtown, aka that weeb with too much money and too little morals, Geese Howard, By the hands of Terry Bogard, someone is gonna step up and fill his shoes. That someone is a man simply known as White. He is a sadistic, fucked-in-the-head son of a bitch that has the power to control people's minds. Thus the name of the game, Dominated Mind. And he is also one of the most bullshit-ass bosses in the history of SNK, and that is saying something. But with a man like him trying his best to take over Southtown, Alfred simply will not have it. So Alfred, being inspired by Terry protecting Southtown in the past, and also making sure that the place where his father is buried isn't desecrated, hops out his plane and into the battlefield to take the war to White. Now Alfred's story is kinda sad because as soon as he got the spotlight, it was ripped away from him. Because you know what came out the year after Dominated Mind? That's right, Garo Mark of the Wolves. And you know who was in Garo Mark of the Wolves? Rock Goddamn Howard. Which in my opinion, and most people's opinion, is a better executed version of Alfred. Instead of just being inspired by the past generation, Rock had them directly pass him the torch. He's the son of the main villain, he was raised by the main hero, he has a cool mishmash moveset between the two of them, and he's one of the most beautifully animated fighting game characters to ever exist. The secondary animation on his jacket has fed generations. Not to mention he's the main character of one of the greatest fighting games of all time. And while Rock rocketed to success, Alfred was left there in a game that not everyone could play. Sure, he got some cameos here and there, but that's about it. But you know what? No, we're not gonna look at it that way. Alfred crawled so Rock could run. He's got a unique backstory, a fun and lively design, and a damn cool moveset. So hats off to you, Alfred, you did your job well, and we're grateful to have you. Now we go from one protagonist from a long-running franchise that was left behind to another. We have Asra. Asra was the lead in Samurai Showdown 64, Warrior's Rage. Damn, another 98 game like Dominated Mind? They were really swinging for the fences with protagonists back then, but I respect it. Anyway, long before time can remember, Asra was a dominant spirit, terrorizing the netherworld. No one can match his swordsmanship, and no one can match his power. That was before he was sealed away by the evil sorcerer, Yuga the Destroyer. After this, Yuga used his magic to make a clone of Asra referred to as Shadow Asra. This version of him was made to be a servant to Yuga as he tried to merge the netherworld with the surface world. While doing Yuga's bidding, this version of Asra fell in love with another victim and slave to Yuga's magic, a Samurai Showdown favorite and personal favorite of mine, Shiki. In the game before Asra became the main character in the original Samurai Showdown 64, Haomaru, the original Samurai Showdown protagonist, was able to defeat Yuga with the help of Shiki. This was able to free Shiki from Asura's control and also free the original Asura. And since Asura was sealed away for years by Yuga, and since Shadow Asura had his love enslaved by Yuga, obviously they wanted their lick back. So Asura and Shadow Asura team up to take out Yuga for good. But unfortunately, since Shadow Asura was created with Yuga's magic, he wasn't long for this world. So the two Asuras made the choice to fuse together to form one true Asura. Now, when I said Solis was tied for my favorite design of the characters I'm going to talk about today, Asra was the other one. There's just something about a good late 90s, early 2000s edgelord that just makes me feel all warm and nostalgic. Also, he has one of my top 5 favorite design tropes of all time, the collar covering up the mouth like a little mask. That shit will always be peak. Along with this, he has a really cool concept for his moveset where he switches between 7 different sacred weapons. The Lucifer Sword, the Asmodeus Bow, the Belphegor Lance, the Leviathan Scythe, the Beelzebub Axe, the Mammon Shield, and the Satanist Staff. All those different names just further driving home how much of an edgelord he is. I love that shit injected into my goddamn veins. Now, before I get caught up in talking about this goofy ass edgelord, let's go ahead and check out another main character that was lost to time and forgotten by his series that moved on without him, with Shujinko. Now, Shujinko might be the dumbest, yet most interesting protagonist on this list. He made his debut as the main character of Mortal Kombat Deception. In Mortal Kombat Deception's Conquest mode, you follow him as a young boy as he ages throughout his life, following the orders of a spirit known as Damashi. Now Damashi, imagine I'm doing air quotes right now, I was only made with like 2 poses, orders Shujinko to go find the Kamidogu of every realm. And now in the original Mortal Kombat universe, the Kamidogu are essentially the realm's life force. Look at them as essentially magic batteries that make each realm what they are. This journey took Shujinko a few years, and a few more 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 years, and a few more. Yeah, it took him a really long time. But over his decades-long quest, he was able to help and defeat several of the Mortal Kombat warriors seen throughout the games. As he interacts with these characters, he pretty much becomes a fighting chameleon. No, not that one. Or that one either. Basically, he's able to adapt and learn from each character and be able to do their moves. After getting several moves from different characters and getting all the Kamidogu, he returns them to Damashi, but surprising! Turns out there's deception in Mortal Kombat Deception, when he finds out that Damashi is really Onaga, the Dragon King, who was reborn after his spirit took over the body of one of my personal favorite Mortal Kombat characters, Reptile. Onaga then put his plan into action by trying to use the Kamidogu to reshape the world in his own image. But Shujinko, using all of his training he got from across the Mortal Kombat universe to finally defeat Onaga, allowing Nightwolf to seal him away forever. This was a hollow victory for Shujinko though, because he felt on the inside, if he never fell for the deception in the first place, the world wouldn't be in the crisis that it was in, but nevertheless, he was still praised throughout the realms. Only to die once MK Armageddon happened, but that doesn't really count because everyone died in MK Armageddon. Then the timeline gets reset once Raiden fucks it up. Then the timeline gets reset once Shang Tsung and Kronika and a bunch of other people fuck it up. And then in 2 years the timeline's gonna get fucked up again by fucking Suha or somebody. Nigga, I don't know. Anyway, Shujinko is pretty interesting when compared to the other protagonists on this list because he's essentially an adventure game protagonist too with the Conquest mode. Plus the idea of living a character's entire life and turning them into a deadly martial arts master is pretty cool. If only the execution of the Conquest mode was actually good. But regardless, I can always appreciate a cool concept when I see it, and Shujinko is just that. Now going from a cranky old man to a cranky old lady with Otane Goketsuji. Otane was the focus of the original Power Instinct game, a series I really want to talk about in the future. She is the twin sister of the original final boss of Power Instinct, Ume Goketsuji. Now in the Power Instinct series, everything will be rooted in and revolve around the Goketsuji clan. They are a ruthless clan that values might over blood and strength over bonds, while also being one of the richest families in the world. That is exactly why they hold a tournament every 5 years to see who will control the clan. Now I don't know about you, but that sounds like a hellscape to live in to me, and Otane can attest to that because her life growing up was absolutely miserable. She was shit on, beaten, dragged, and abused every day of her young life by her sister Ume. And their mother couldn't care less because, well, in her eyes, Otane simply isn't strong enough. Now you may think that's fucked up, but oh my god, dude, you haven't seen anything yet. Because Ume thinks, you know what? I could really step my abuse game up, so I'm going to wrap my sister in a box, close that box up with no air holes, and then throw it into the ocean for her to drown to death. Yes, that murderous little piece of shit Ume tried to kill her sister. And she would have succeeded if some farmers didn't find the box that Otane was in. The farmers would then take in Otane and try to figure out who she was. But because of the severe trauma that she experienced for years, she could only remember her name, with all the memories of being a Goketsuji being suppressed. With the farmer family being heartbroken by this, they would end up adopting her and giving Otane a pretty nice life. None too crazy, but simple and honest, you know? Sadly, this would end though when she turned 13. On her 13th birthday, her family felt that she should know how she ended up with them. And when they told her that she was found in a box, all the memories of being a Goketsuji flooded back. And with this newfound anger and resentment for her past family, Otane could only think of one thing.
Ooh, I'm gonna slap the fuck out that bitch!
With this new purpose of revenge, Otane travels to the Goketsuji mansion in Kyoto. The thing is though, she was only 13 and kids are kinda stupid, so she didn't really have a plan on what to do after that. Luckily, one of the young Kuroko servants of the manor was able to help her out. The kid disguised Otane as one of the servants so she could figure out what's going on with her family while she was gone. Otane infiltrated the family for 2 years until she realized, you know what? I can't get my revenge by just sitting here and doing nothing, so I'm gonna go train. So she left to hone her skills for a majority of her life, until she pretty much became fucking Super Granny. Learning how to shoot fireballs, learning how to shoot her fucking teeth out her mouth, and learning how to transform into a younger, more powerful version of herself. Over those years while Otane trained, Ume became the new head of the Goketsuji clan. Then they would finally have their fated meeting at the 16th Goketsuji tournament. After a hard-fought battle, Otane would finally get her vengeance and defeat Ume, becoming the new head of the clan. And guess what? This was only the first Power Instinct game. The Power Instinct series is filled with several games and several narratives. Need proof? You remember?
Solis R8000.
From the start of the video? Yeah, she's a Goketsuji. The family she was trying to contact in the past was Otane and Ume, who were somehow working together. Power Instinct is filled with several cool characters and stories that I'll get into some other time. But right now, it's all about Otane, and I fucking love Otane. And honestly, how could you not? She's a crazy-ass, revenge-obsessed, old kung fu lady. She's like if one of them niggas from the Hatocracy was a fighting game character. Oh, wait, hold on. Boondock's fighting game. Huey could be a Rekka character, Tom could be like Phoenix Wright, with his wife being Maya. Wait a second. Remember that for later. Anyway, you know what Otane does once she becomes head of the table? She builds a fucking theme park and calls it Otane Land on some fucking Seto Kaiba shit. Otane is fucking great, and I hope you think so too. And that is all I have for you today. 5 really cool forgotten fighting game protagonists that I think you should remember. If you like these characters too, feel free to leave a comment. If you want to hear me talk about more forgotten fighting game protagonists, feel free to leave a comment. Or if I got any facts wrong about these characters, feel free to leave a comment. But just try your best not to be an asshole about it. Alright? Again, please like and subscribe and hit that bell if you'd be so kind. And while you're at it, make sure you subscribe to BABERUTHLESS too. Honestly, it'd be hard to believe if you haven't heard of her if you're watching this video, but if you haven't, she makes amazing videos on fighting game stages, memorabilia, and pretty much all things cool about fighting games. And she does dope-ass cosplays too. What's not to like? She was kind enough to help me improve these videos for your viewing pleasure, and I can't thank her enough for it. If you want to support me further, you can follow me on BlueSky or donate to my Ko-fi to help further improve these videos. And if you want to commission me to make some art for you, you can go ahead and do that on my website. With all that being said, I know times are tough, but you'll get through it. I've been hyenabreezy, I was here, and I did the best I can. Later.
I know that you be bad.